So sometime in April or May of 2024, I set out to test out some of the international shipping companies in Nigeria that help Nigerians ship from platforms like Amazon and eBay and get their items to Nigeria. And naturally, one of the top companies to test when you're looking at that space is Heroshe, because they've been top players. They've been in business for over a decade, I think 12 to 13 years now. And I tested them out first, and my experience was terrible. My items were delayed, and at some point I just forgot about the whole thing and had to move on to test a different platform. And I tested Fly My Mall, and the experience was pleasant, and I made a video about that recommending Fly My Mall, and the video is up on the channel right now. But still signed up to Heroshe, I was getting emails and stuff that was going on in the company, and I noticed there was trouble brewing in the company because they at some point started to send emails apologizing to customers, saying that their shipments that were delayed are going to be handled and all of that. And things really got heated, and I went on Instagram and followed them, and that was where everything just blew up. And I started to follow this story from September. I think from September of last year was when it really started to get heated, down to right now. It's still ongoing at the time of making this video. A lot of aggrieved customers that are very angry with Heroshe. So what went wrong at Heroshe? So I did a lot of following of this whole story from last year, and it was really close to me because I was very close to recommending Heroshe, and I'm very, very big on protecting my integrity. I don't want to recommend something to people that will maybe cause them to lose money later down the line. I don't want to drag my name to the mud. So I was this close, and that was why I followed the story. And basically what happened was they were in the process of moving. I think they were completely trying to move the operations from Houston to Delaware. I think they were operational in Houston and Delaware at the same time. They also had a presence in the UK and China. And so they had a very big operation. To give a little bit of credit to them, they had a big operation. So they were trying to move their operations from Houston to Delaware. And that was where the cracks started to happen, because from what the CEO, Osinachi, on Instagram, he did a lot of videos on this, updates and stuff. So what he was saying was, in the process of moving from Houston to Delaware, they had issues with hiring and training. So their systems and structures started to experience an overwhelm. Basically, that was it. And this type of business is something where once something cracks, everything just falls apart. And so I guess from the backlogs and trying to sort out things, customers were getting aggrieved. And I think there were even reports of their office being attacked in Lagos, Nigeria. Trust Nigerians not to take it easy with you. That was where all of the troubles began. Now, some of the things I think Heroshe got wrong was there was a time they decided to ask for people to forget to try and make another payment for their shipments to be sent to Nigeria, forgetting the previous payment they made, just to help them. I think they were also having issues with finance. So they pleaded with the customers and said, let us forget about the previous payment. Can you make another payment so we can ship things? Some customers did, and also reported that even the second time, the shipments were not made. So that's like pouring salt into injury, and people will get pouring fuel into fire. People will just get even more angered, and it's just making the situation even blow up more than it should. And then the second thing I think they got wrong is poor customer support during the period when all of this was happening. Even though I understand that it's very difficult to offer customer support to aggrieved customers. So I guess at some point it was becoming too overwhelming for them, and they just turned off their channels, and people were attacking them on Instagram and saying they were not replying to tickets anymore. They were not giving any updates and stuff like that, except for their newsletters where they were trying to keep people updated, and also with their CEO coming on Instagram every now and again to give some type of update. Which brings me to what I think the company did well, and the CEO particularly. The CEO showed up. He didn't hide his face behind the brand, as most CEOs do. They hide behind the brand name. You don't really know who is doing the business, even though most people know. OC showed up on Instagram, and he was trying to keep people updated with videos and letting them know exactly what happened, even taking ownership with the things that he and the company did wrong, and also just calling out everything as it is and how they got themselves into the mess that they were in. So I really commend him for that, and it kind of gives you the idea that this was not a scam. It's easy to label anything like this that goes wrong a scam, but when a CEO shows up like that, you know that really this was just an unfortunate circumstance. Business is incredibly difficult. Situations like this can arise even though somebody is not trying to actively scam you of your money. So I like that he showed up and tried to give people updates. And then number 3 thing I commend them for is trying to use other companies. I think at some point they were trying to use Fly My Mall. Very recently, I think they also sent out an email that they were trying to use a company known as Donem. I've never heard about that company before. Dunem or Donem, something like that, to try and handle all the backlogs that they have. So I think that's commendable. What I think we should take away from this as consumers and customers of a brand is, in this particular situation of logistics and shopping, I think you should never shop for people. There are a lot of people who are in a deep mess right now. They went down with Heroshe in this whole problem, because especially people who are retailers or who have a business where they maybe sell items and they're trying to ship things and then sell them in Nigeria. Some of them take pre-order, like collect money from their customers and then use that money to buy things and ship. And then if you're doing that, it's a very risky business. But I can't blame anybody who is in business and that's your whole business model. Yeah, it's different if you're a business person. There's almost no way to to avoid that. But if you are an individual, it's incredibly dangerous for you to try to use your own accounts and stuff to try to take people's money to shop for them. I'd recommend that you teach them how to do the thing, because some people genuinely don't know how to go about shopping internationally and all of that stuff. And maybe you're the tech savvy guy in your family or in your circle of friends and you want to help everybody out. Teach them how to do it. It's incredibly dangerous to be the middleman, take people's money and go and use a service that may fail you. And the second takeaway for me that I will share with you guys is, don't bet too much on one brand or one service provider. Any brand, really any brand, can go out of business. Any brand can disappoint you. Any brand can be shady. And any brand can, even though they're not shady, have situations like this one that Heroshe is facing right now, where they find themselves in a situation where they're going down and you have to go down with them. So you want to be able to spread your tentacles. I don't tie myself too much to a brand, even though I really, really love some of them and I try to, recommend them and use them. I just try to spread my net so that I am not burned too much if there is a situation like this. And number 3, you should trust your gut and do your research, especially when money is involved. Like how I trusted my gut not to recommend Heroshe when I sensed there was trouble brewing, from the terrible service that I received. So yeah, it's incredibly important for you to do your research and trust your gut. If you smell rats, just pull out. And I'm very, very, very grateful that I didn't make a video and recommend Heroshe. And that's one important thing about this whole thing of content creation and trying to recommend services and stuff and products. Sometimes you guys, the viewers on the other end, you may think maybe we're in cohorts with these people. Sometimes that's not the thing. It's I'm very scared for someone to think that I'm recommending something to you because maybe it's a sponsored video or somebody paid me to say something nice. Even if somebody pays me, I still insist to try to test the service to make sure that it's something that I will use myself. Even if I don't actively use it, I want to test it to make sure that it's something that I can recommend or I can use before I can recommend it to somebody else. And I'm very grateful that I have that policy. And still, I can still be caught up in situations like this. Like I recommended Fly My Mall. I think it's a great service, but they could easily find themselves in a situation like this. And then everybody that I've recommended the service to would think that maybe, I'm part of the whole scheme and everything. So yeah, you need to follow your guts and do your research. So in closing, I have to say this, even though it's going to come off really painful to some people who have been caught in the crossfire, people who are experiencing the pain of all the issues that's going on with Heroshe right now, people who have lost money and all of that, I do not think that what is going on with Heroshe is an elaborate scam. You know, like they pre-planned this. Keep in mind that this is a company that has been in business for over a decade. It's just an unfortunate situation, and to be honest, I empathize with them just as much as I empathize with their customers who have lost money. Actually, I'm part of their customers who have lost money, because when I had that first experience when I was trying to test them, luckily it was just a $20 item. When it didn't come, it actually came. I think it's in their office now in Lagos, but at some point I just got fed up and left the whole thing. So it should be in their office in Lagos. But yeah, all of us who have been burned, I don't think I should be counting myself, but I empathize with the customers. But then again, I also empathize with the company, because I don't think this was elaborate. I think this was just an unfortunate situation for a company that just found themselves in a situation that they're trying to dig themselves out of, and it just is incredibly difficult for everyone. So if you're still into shopping, I know. Hello? Okay, I'm coming. A lot of people have been messaging me asking from the Fly My Mall video if they can still use Fly My Mall. People are scared now with all that's happening around the logistics, with what's happening with Heroshe in the international logistics space. Is Fly My Mall going to have the same issue? From my experience so far, Fly My Mall has not failed me. I still keep recommending them. But in the light of all that's going on, I'm going to do a fresh review of Fly My Mall to see if their service is still holding up. So keep an eye out for that video.